Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we are doing my monthly beauty favorites roundup. But before we go any further, let's take a second to grab our iced coffee or a hot coffee. Let's take a sip and let's get started. As you know, I have my online beauty consulting service, which is where you get the chance to talk to me one-on-one through a Zoom chat. So if you've ever picked up any makeup and you're not sure how to make it work for you in your makeup collection, that is the perfect reason to book a session with me. So just go ahead and click the link in the description box down below. All right, my March beauty favorites. You know, the more I do these, the later in the month I'm starting to do these favorites. At first, I would do them like the first week or, you know, the first few days of the month. And now we're like halfway through the month almost. And I was like, okay, I really need to go look back at what I've been obsessing over, reusing the most. And the first one is actually a foundation. These are two samples here. This is the Guerlain L'Essentiel foundation, but this is the matte version. It's the one I'm wearing today. Now, I don't know what's been going on with me for the past few months, but I actually really love matte foundations. I used to avoid matte foundations because I thought that they would just be super drying and just, I don't know, emphasize any dryness or fine lines, but I find that luxury matte foundations are actually quite lovely. Like, they're not drying, they're not cakey, they just have a soft, natural, velvety finish. And I've been bouncing between the shades 35N and 40N just to, you know, pick the shade that I want. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up the full-size bottle in store in the next few weeks because I just think it's beautiful. Like, it's soft, it's very natural, it has a nice coverage. It's like a nice light to medium. You could sheer it out, you could build it up a bit more, but as you can see, you're still going to see like little beauty marks, and it's still going to look like your skin and look very natural, but the matte version is also very long wearing. Like, you can wear it all day, even with mask wearing off and on. It's very resistant. And they do have a more glow version, which I probably would have gone towards more naturally, but now I actually love the matte version. So that's been what I've been wearing a lot in most of my videos this past month. Speaking of Guerlain, I also picked up their new Terracotta Light. This is their new bronzer here. So this is the number 3 medium warm. And as you can see, this has been very well loved. This used to look like a beautiful leopard polka dot combination of light and dark bronzer. You have a blush color and a highlighter. So depending on the shade that you get, sometimes the blush is more pink. I got more of an orangey coral because I just think it looks really nice with my colors here. And so I always go in and swirl and swirl and swirl and then apply liberally. You can just sort of hone in on one if you want a certain color for your eyes maybe, or, you know, for whatever you want. But as you can see, my makeup is very well loved. It doesn't look as pristine as it used to. I could maybe try to clean this off a little, but you know, it is what it is. After using it for several weeks, almost every day, it's starting to look like I love it. And so this one here, the Terracotta Light, I really like it. I'm not like super well versed with the Guerlain Terracotta bronzers, but I really like this one because I like the combination of the blush and the highlighter. You can wear this only as a blush if you wanted to. I added a little bit more blush, but you could just use this as like an all over cheek color. I think it's really pretty. You know, it's very classic, it's Guerlain, and it's just really a fabulous product. So speaking of cheeks, one blush that I've been using a lot because I've been using my Guerlain Terracotta bronzer a lot, and when I want to add just a little bit more color, I go into this Dior Backstage Blush here. This is Coral number 004. Now they do have a pink rosy option, but I really love this coral peachy color here. So the Backstage Rosy Glow blushes here, they do have this feature where they sort of just adapt to your natural skin's pH the same way that their lip glosses will do. But as you can see, it's just like a little hint of coral, orange, peach, whatever you want to call it. And I have both the rosy and the coral, but I just find that this is such a great combination with the terracotta bronzer here. This is what I'm wearing on my cheeks today. And I find just mixing these together just creates like a beautiful harmony. It just works really well. And so I go in just a little bit, not a lot, because I do find the bronzer has enough color. It's just to like add a little extra touch of coral. And now that it's getting into spring, summer, warmer months, I do like these warmer tones for blush. So this is like a classic of Backstage. This came out like 3 or 4 years ago, and it's just a really great product. So next up is an item that I bought very recently, and it's sort of just like snuck in last minute as a favorite. This I got during the Sephora sale. This is the Tom Ford Honeymoon palette. So this is new to me, but as you can tell, I've been enjoying it. I've been dipping into all of the colors, playing around with them. Yes, there will be a video, at least one, using this palette very soon. It's coming in the near future. But today, I am wearing just these two colors. This beautiful light color, I placed it everywhere on the lid. And then this second color here, I just placed it in the crease and a little bit on the bottom line. So this is a very versatile palette because sometimes I go into this beautiful like cranberry shade and just like smoke it out and add a little bit of this just to deepen it. But it's very versatile because these two colors here are just very light. It kind of gives me a little bit of suspicion in like the JLo glow vibe, but you can create something lighter and fresher. Let me go ahead and just do some swatches for you guys. I have completely drunk the Tom Ford eyeshadow Kool-Aid. I get it. It's wonderful. The shadows, they feel really soft and buttery, but not soft in a way that they break, but just like very easy to swatch, and they're very easy to wear as well because the color you see in the palette transfers instantly onto the eye. Like you don't have to build and build and build. They're very opaque and they're very blendable. It's a really interesting color combination because at first you see like the purple and cranberry with the golds and you're like, am I supposed to wear all four at once? No, just because a palette has 4 colors does not mean you need to wear all 4 at once. You can if you want, but you don't have to. So if you have this at home and you're a little bit overwhelmed, just do 2 shadows. Like you can do what I did today, very light, very natural, or something more dramatic, but just these 2. You don't have to wear all 4 at once. A lot of you told me that Honeymoon is one of your favorite palettes from Tom Ford, and I totally get it now because at first I was like, oh, why are there like such contrasting colors? But I have to take my own advice and not wear every single color at once. So I have a second eyeshadow palette here that I've been obsessed with the past month, which is a complete opposite to Elemental. It's very light, very fresh, very spring, and it's very Chanel. This is the Elemental palette. This came out 2 or 3 years ago at the same time as Warm Memories. Thank you for reminding me down in the comments. So this one is still available in Canada in certain locations, but for some reason in the States, not so much. I will try to find links again, but I had a hard time finding them in the US. I'll try to see if like UK retailers have them, but I'm really late to the game with this palette here, but it's so pretty. It's very light, very fresh, very opposite of the Tom Ford palette. This one here, the finishes are different. You have mattes and then you have like satin finishes. This one here is like the one that's a bit darker, it's like almost like a khaki, but like almost like gray at the same time. And these are just very light. I keep repeating light and fresh, but it's really the vibe of this palette here. Just like a hint of color, very feminine, very soft, and I think it is perfect for spring. So I hope at home you do have this palette because it is harder to find for some reason. Let me go ahead and give you guys some swatches. So when you see the swatches here, you get these like almost taupey lilac and then a nice rose, and that's really the vibe, like a light, very light lilac and rosy hue. So I know like florals for spring is not very groundbreaking, but it's a classic for a reason. These colors are very pretty and very lovely. Okay, so a second item that I snuck in last minute from Sephora is from Rare Beauty, and this is one of their liquid highlighters in the shade Transcend. So this is the bottle here. It looks like a bottle of like liquid magma. It definitely gives you that beautiful bronzed JLo glow. And I used to think that I wasn't like that much of a highlighter girl, and I sort of am with an asterisk. I much prefer a liquid highlighter. Do you know why? I prefer to put my liquid highlighter on before my foundation. I like to use it almost as a primer or a base. So today I used this liquid highlighter here. This is the wand, so it's a nice shape, and I'll give you a swatch right here. As you can see, it is beautiful, and you do get quite a bit of product, so just be mindful when you apply it. You can go ahead and maybe put it on the back of your hand and then transfer, because it's easier to add than it is to remove. So what I did is I just placed a few dots, just 2 on each side, and then I used my foundation brush. I blended it out, and then any extra I just sort of placed where, you know, you would naturally get highlighter. And then I put my Guerlain foundation over top. I just find that when you layer a liquid foundation underneath your, or liquid foundation, if you layer a liquid highlighter underneath your foundation, you just get a more natural, subtle glow. Like, you may look at me and think that I'm wearing highlighter, but it's not like a layer on top of my makeup. It's just melted into the makeup. And this is just the technique and the consistency that I prefer. So I am a liquid highlighter girl, and I just love this because you're not going to look at me and say, wow, she's wearing highlighter. It's more just like, oh, she looks very luminous and very healthy. And I like the combination of a liquid highlighter with a matte foundation. It sort of just evens each other out in a very healthy, natural looking way. Okay, so the last few items here were sent to me in PR, but these are just my thoughts and opinions. So the first one is from Givenchy, and they have a new fragrance out for the season. This is Lentil Nocturnal Jasmine. So this is a take on the classic Interdit. There have been many different versions and takes on L'Interdit here. So this is the new Nocturnal Jasmine. This is an eau de parfum. Now at first I wasn't certain about this one because I like jasmine, but jasmine is a note that doesn't always like me. But this one here, when I smell it, initially I get like a lot of the classic DNA of L'Interdit, but it has almost more of an intense woody scent. I get more star anise, more like a hint of black licorice. There's some patchouli there as well, but in a very soft way. Sometimes patchouli can be off-putting for people, but this one is nice. It has like these warm, spicy notes. It has balsamic too, but not like in a very acidic, vinegary scent, more like a sweet, syrupy balsamic. It's very earthy, woody, spicy, warm. And if you want a comparison to the classic Interdit, I think the classic Interdit is a bit more fruity, a bit sweeter, but it has some of the same notes. And I thought there would be more jasmine, but I'm very happy that there isn't because it's more wearable for me. So if you like L'Interdit, if you like the entire collection, you'll be very happy to know that there's a Nocturnal Jasmine out. But to me, the Nocturnal Jasmine name made me think it was going to be even heavier, like even more robust and because Nocturnal is nighttime. So I thought maybe it's going to be an even more syrupy, sweeter perfume, but it isn't. It's nice. It's not like a super heavy, like Lancôme La Vie est Belle. If you've enjoyed the previous Interdit versions, like the intense versions, even the red version, you would like this. If you like the YSL Libre perfume, you would enjoy this. If you like Lancôme Idole, you would also enjoy this one here. Next up is a lip gloss. This is the NARS Afterglow lip gloss in Chelsea Girls. So I've been wearing this pretty much nonstop all month. This has been my go-to nude. So it's what I'm wearing today. It's just like the perfect beigey nude that offers just like enough color and slick, but it's not too nude, because sometimes a nude gloss kind of like washes you out and makes you fade away. But this is just the right amount of color. And this lip gloss formula, like they have a lot of other colors if you want to choose something else, but this is the Afterglow Lip Shine. And it's not too runny. Sometimes a gloss kind of just like runs everywhere. It stays in place, but it's not too thick either. Like it's not gloopy. So it's just a really great lip gloss formula. And in this collection here, they have these ones that I don't want to say that they're matte, because you can see it's a lip gloss, but they don't have any like glitter particles in them. There are the ones that have more of like a high shine, more. It's not glitter because you don't feel like a gritty glitter, but this one here is almost like more of a creamy finish, which is what I like. So if you prefer gloss, because I know some people prefer a glossy, moisturized lip, this formula here is really nice, and Chelsea Girls is my favorite. Next up is the new and improved Clé de Peau Concealer. I wear the shade Almond, and this has been my go-to concealer for years. This is Almond right here. So recently they came out with a new version of it. I just did a full review, comparison, wear test, etc. on Monday. So listen, this has been my absolute favorite concealer for years. It's very expensive, but I think it's totally worth it because it takes like a year to go through, because it is actually a very high coverage concealer, but it's self-setting in a way. So you apply it, you blend it out, and then that's it. You don't have to set it with a powder. You don't have to bake. You don't have to check to see if anything has faded. You know, a lot of concealers, after a few hours, like after lunch, you look in the mirror and it has collected in your crow's feet. So unappealing. This never does that. It just sets in place. It has like this auto setting magic to it that's just fabulous. And I personally don't see much of a difference with the new formula. I know it's a new formula. I know they did something different, but honestly, I really can't tell the difference. So it's great, and I'm very happy about that. All right, last but not least, we have here the Brightening Enhancer Veil from Clé de Peau. So this is a primer, but it has the same attributes that I look for in a liquid highlighter, because I guess it could be a liquid highlighter slash primer. This is the product here. So this you put on as a base before your foundation, or if you want like a really beautiful no makeup day, you could just go ahead and wear this and nothing else. It actually has this peachy pink to it. I did a comparison with the Chanel Rosy Light Drops, and it actually has more peach to it than pink compared to Chanel. So this I wear underneath my foundation. I go over top with the foundation. It gives me the same sort of vibe as the Rare Beauty liquid highlighter. Clearly, these are different shades. This one is darker, more bronzy and gold, and this one is more of like a milky peach color. So it just sort of depends the mood, the vibe that I want, but this is the type of primer that I want. I want a primer that essentially acts as a liquid highlighter. That's really what I've discovered. All right, these are my beauty favorites from the month of March, the products that I have been reaching for time and time again, and a couple last minute items that have snuck in. I peeled myself away from watching Bridgerton season 2. I've only watched a couple episodes because the show is like, every episode is like an hour and a half long. No spoilers, but I'm getting through it. I'm very excited. Anyway, let me know in the comments what were some of your favorites from last month. Are there any favorites in today's video? Sound off below because I love to hear what you guys are obsessed with as well. If you guys are new to my channel, I certainly hope you take the time to subscribe. Feel free to hit that notification bell so you can get notifications whenever I post a video, because I will be using a lot of these items in the near future, like the rare beauty items and Tom Ford Honeymoon, of course, very soon. So make sure your notification bell is on. And on that note, I think this is all I have for you guys for today. So I thank you all so much for stopping by. Hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.